All right, what's up, YouTube? Today we're going to talk about power assertion versus power reassertion. Now, these are elements in every crime, and so for the forensics field, we got to decide where you get your power assertive and reassertive personalities and how these affect every crime. Now, with power assertion, it means I'm right, you are wrong. I will make you pay if you make me mad. Now, that's the ultimate antisocial attitude, where they got the warrior gene in a sense. They profit off others like human cockroaches. Whatever you have, I don't care if it's yours. It's going to be mine now. It's like, I'm going to walk over your face, and if you try and fight me back, I'll stomp you. It's that kind of mentality, which makes it hard for the justice system, because these people can mold their personalities and totally be different. So then you get into power reassertion. And now, power reassertive people can be accused of serious crimes, and then they get beaten by the power assertive types. And so, that's where the power assertive people tend to use manipulation and diversion and deceit, and they tend to have very aggressive personalities. And power assertive people tend to be empty. And this is where, both of them get easily bored, and they have this kind of tendency where, like a sociopath is power assertive, and they tend to have this tendency that, they just don't think about others. If something appeals to them, they'll take it. And they have this mentality that will get them into aggressive behavior because of their warrior gene and need for stimulation, which has now been found in the DSM-4 and lots of diagnoses. They've looked at behaviors, and they have found this kind of behavior in a lot of offenders. Now, you also have power reassertive types of offenders who will do something to feel better about themselves. And they often are social loners. They often have few friends, low social skills. They may oftentimes be very gentle people, but then they do stuff like, they may turn around and break into somebody's house or burn somebody's house, or they can become arsonists. They tend to have this coward mentality where they can't face people, but they do stuff behind their backs. And that is power reassertion. And that is an element in a criminal personality that actually complicates the puzzle. Because not all criminals are antisocial. Some of them can be self-destructive personalities, schizophrenic, manic-depressive, autism, schizotypal, drug abuse, post-traumatic stress, emotionally disturbed individuals, people with no qualifications that just get mad one time. You have all different elements. But the power reassertion is where somebody will feel empty, and they will do it to feel better about themselves. And they will oftentimes, this is a category for sex offender, but it also applies to lots of other crimes where you have people that get this thrill, and they're empty losers, and they may sit behind a computer tormenting people or any kind of thing. And so these are elements. As forensic scientists, we look at these kinds of personality types, and we look at basically the aggression. And when you start to see power reassertive people, they'll tend to get bullied by this guy, and then they'll set them off. They'll turn around and hit this other person. Bam. And then they're in trouble. Or there was a guy in lockup in Iowa, and this guy, obviously he was a very gentle person, not very strong, and he stabbed somebody at a mall and went to prison, and he couldn't make it in there. People were pushing him around. He was in isolation, complaining about it. But these are weak people, and they may be weak physically, especially, and they don't have strong social skills. They don't have the strong ability to interact with others, and oftentimes, these kinds of people will do more cowardly acts where they will not engage people face to face. They will tend to basically push people around behind their back, or they'll damage property or do stuff like that. And power assertive people tend to have this dominance. And the power assertion is like Denzel Washington in Training Day, where he believes everything belongs to him. He has no conscience or remorse about anything. He'll just do it and do it and do it. And he'll use a lethal combination of charm and manipulation to get what he wants. And so basically, these are personalities that you see a lot of. And, the power assertive people, often they're sociopaths. They will tend to have this need for stimulation, and they can get easily bored. They have less dopamine, serotonin in their brain. And so in a classroom setting or in some place, they will get easily bored and lose their temper. They'll get agitated. They'll start cutting up. They'll oftentimes have this tendency to act out too. But the power reassertive people often have no friends, and they're the social loners who can't get laid, who live in their mom's basement and end up setting a supermarket on fire behind, or throwing firecrackers at somebody and then running. They're just such dickless little cowards, or they go shoot up a place because they're empty little losers. And, the power reassertive people can often self-medicate with violent stuff, And, you can start to see elements of depression and, the sense that somebody feels lonely or bored. Or you could even have borderline people that fall in this category too. Where they feel the sense they're extremely unstable and, they have little friends, they get obsessed really fast, they're very weak mentally, and they don't have this ability to lead. And the power assertive people could be like the warrior types. They're the cold-blooded, they find connections immediately, and it's never personal, it's business. A power assertive person could get very emotional and feel it is personal, and they're real upset or about something, or they tend to have this sense where they can just explode. And power assertive people are more like the bullies that would bully this guy. And the power reassertive guy is like the guy that would turn around and hit, yell stuff or whatever, or do any kind of crime to usually property, not to people, or to any kind of stuff. Or they may make threats, or they may turn around, force someone in sexual activity, and then feel bad about it, whereas the power assertive person will feel this is what men do to women, or they'll push them around and they'll expect complete obedience. So this is basically an element of forensic science that has to be looked at in crimes. And this is my video, and thanks for watching. Good luck with your investigations and your work in the field.